Hey, today we're taking a look at Seul, or Alone, by Paranormal Games. This one is a text-based philosophical thriller. The devs were kind enough to send me a key for this game. That was very thoughtful. Thank you. Anyway, judging from the title, this is likely the first game in a series of projects. This one's called the Entrée. So let's go ahead and start a new game. Let's start a new Seul. A new Alone? Alright, so we got two people in the dark. It's about to begin again. Shh, I know. Well, how far do you think? Not very. No, keep quiet, would you? We're about to begin. Let's tumble out. Looking for something? What? What do I do here? What am I looking for? Oh, I can scroll it. Everything is black, but it feels thick, almost blankety. Complete darkness totally surrounds you. All you can feel is a hard floor beneath your feet. It's smooth and polished, you're sure of that. The darkness can be felt against your skin, like it has a solidity to it in some way. There are no sounds or smells, but you feel if there were, they would have to work slightly harder to move through this velvet veil of blackness. You hear a lady with a soft, silky voice. Looking for something, darling? Wait. I guess stay silent and feel your way around. Careful now, darling. Wandering around the dark ain't the smartest of options. You move cautiously with arms outstretched, slowly waving back and forth, like we're bouncing on something, sliding one foot outwards, then the other. Fear fills your chest, and with every slight bit of progress. Oh, Peggy, stop meddling and give me some goddamn light. You hear a thunderous man's voice yell. It almost makes you jump out of your skin. Lucky you didn't. We've still got further to go, friend. Yell, hello? 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 In your mind, it sounded less loud than it came out. Now you're already rethinking whether that was the best thing to do. Duh. What? You hear distant clunking in the darkness. Clunk, clunk, clunk. You know the sound. Clunk. A brief pause. Clunk. Oh, we're in like a huge theater, like an opera theater? The entire room lights and it hurts your eyes. Filled with dark, ominous reds, rich golds and oaked wood lining, an entire theater begins to light up before you, cascading its tones across you. The realization you're standing on the stage startles you, frozen for a moment. There's something odd. It doesn't feel like you're actually standing in there, but more like you're peering into there, in that particular spot, at that particular moment. Take a look around. You look around and there's nothing here. An empty theater. Suddenly, an exit sign lights up just left of the stage. Exeunt? Alright. As you move towards the exit of the stage, a large crowd begins cheering and clapping. You know the theater was and is empty, so you don't dare look out to the non-existent crowd. This is fucking insane. A door just down a couple steps off the stage. Perfect. Alright, open the door. What's this? You have to push hard on the door. It swings open, presenting a normal-looking house. The front door's open. You think to yourself, a way out. But you can also hear something else just as you go to make a move. It's in the goddamn house, Peggy. This is all your fault. You cuthead. Jesus. I'm gonna bury you in the backyard. Jesus, fuck. They know you're here. Well, at least it seems that way. Why is the door open? Is it a trap? It's calling us it? What is going on? Well, we're gonna run for the door, of course. Your legs feel thin and weak all of a sudden, almost as though they're They're like popsicle sticks stuck in wet beach sand as waves pull out around them. It requires every bit of focus to pull them up and move forward. Why is this so fucking hard? Move, please just move, let me run. Panic and frustration pours over you like someone set up a bucket of water over the door as a joke, and you just opened it, becoming the punchline. It's right in front of me, please just work, legs, please, bursts out of your mouth. Fuck, you think. It's downstairs, Peggy. You hear footsteps right above you. You must be heading for the stairs. You push as hard as you can to make your legs work. They are, but just in slow motion. Your strides are getting bigger. You're almost out. You're in front of a door now, just about to step outside. You can feel presence behind you, growing bigger like some jagged piece of rusty old iron sheeting. The kind you find on some scrap heap. Closing in on you, lifted by a strong wind, whirlwinding towards the back of you, about to make you an unavoidable casualty. It feels evil through and through. Fuck, I'm not gonna make it. Your left hand reaches and grabs the doorframe. I'm gonna make it. Your right hand reaches from the other side of the doorframe. One more step. You feel your shirt tighten around the front of your neck. Someone has a hold of the back of your collar. It pulls hard on your throat like a rope or a leash. It instantly gives you that feeling like you want to cough, and the blood pressure compresses your head from the inside out. No! Your arms pull against the doorframe. Your legs haven't given out from under you. Luckily, they haven't kept moving without you. Lost in momentum. No, they've strengthened. They're supporting you. Pull harder. Pull, do it. You pull with all your strength, like pulling and pulling all gravity away, all existence, all natural forces, all rules of physics, all of it. It's almost as if you're not even trying anymore. It's like everything is being torn away from you. That's it. It's done. You're free. You've done it. You look around, breathing deeply. What? You're standing in an empty subway station. What the fuck? Where's outside gone? What the fuck? Fuck, what the fuck? Why? Why? Fuck. This feels like a really bad dream. There's a lot of, like, nightmare tropes. Subway station now. It's empty. Okay. I feel like I'm losing my shit now. It's hard to breathe. After that house and all that. Some bitch named Peggy. The theater. What nightmare is this? You think in splintered thoughts. Alright, well, if we try to leave, I suppose it's just gonna jump us to another place. I need a breather. As you sit, you quickly realize how wholly drained you feel, especially after the close call back at the house. You slowly survey the station again. Still empty, but that doesn't seem to mean shit in here. Every little step in here is like walking on a razor blade, fighting to survive. Hopefully I just don't lose my mind in the process. Sitting, still scanning the surroundings, you notice a poster on the pillar, just behind your left shoulder. It's like a light bulb in what looks like a periscope. You're surprised it hasn't caught your attention earlier, as it's the only thing you've come across with color. It stands out so vividly with its purple contrast compared to the rest of the grayscale locale. It makes itself so prominent. It pinpoints your focus, but also makes you feel light and wobbly. Wow, that is getting really loud. Below the poster reads Lumina Bureau, Lighthouses in the Dark. Huh. Gotta remember that and try to track them down. They may have some answers or offer some help. Lumina Bureau. Alright. Well, we have a choice. Let's go ahead and move on. You head down the track. The tunnel seems well lit for now, as you walk on for some time. Gravel underfoot sometimes bending your feet at odd angles. You try to walk in the cemented, thin pathway as much as possible. Eventually the lights seem to disperse and the darkness grows more prominent, slowly swallowing and overwhelming any signs of light. Your hand sliding across the cold cemented wall is the only guide you have. Now and then you trip and stagger, but manage never to hit the floor. At some point of no return, the wall, gravel, and everything else dissolves, leaving only a hard, smooth floor in complete pitch darkness. You know that things have changed. You're somewhere else. There's a dog, barking. You walk on for some time, mainly just listening and waving your arms before you, in order not to walk face first into anything. But you notice this is starting to gain longer breaks between each arm wave, like your brain is getting used to the fact there's nothing in front of you. Every now and then, a bit of fear pops back into your mind, that there could be a wall or sudden drop in front of you. So you slow. Caution slows your movement, then relaxes again after some time. This is exhausting, you think to yourself. Then a light pulses dimly just ahead. Like being lost at sea and finally noticing the light emerging from a lighthouse after being misplaced at sea for days. The light offers hope, land, salvation. You move towards it, but slowly and cautiously with a serene calm. It could be the exhaustion, or it could be precaution. It's too hard to tell, but one thing you already know in this place, sometimes the land can be more treacherous than the sea of blackness. Walk over to the light, stick to the darkness? Or, hey reader, yeah you, pick this option. Alright, well that's something new. Everything freezes. Your character, the darkness. Even though it's dark, you feel it all become still. So still, in fact, that you seem to be here, but also out there, or in here. Or more just where you happen to be at this very moment. Text and sounds, noises are all that follows. The sounds carry themselves on, pre-recorded echoing of what was something before but drifting on, letting go, ejecting you, making you once again aware of yourself and your surroundings. What self do I speak of? The voice inside you, of course. Surroundings? Well, where you are at this very moment. Quick, do me a favor, look up and around. Ooh, I wish I could see what you're seeing at this very moment. How cool it would be to have that ability, don't you think? But let's get back to that inner voice. You know, this one reading. Can you hear it? Have you ever studied it, really? I mean, really listen to your voice. The truest narration of all these happenings. Fiction, but somehow a solid world inside your mind. Following letters to words to voice. Your voice and my words. It's in here, where you're truly soul, where you're truly alone, that I now address, and it's important that you begin to listen to it more often, especially when it begins to wander off by itself. That's where the magic is, you know. Funny, I was alone when I wrote this, and I happened to just be listening as it began to wander, so I recorded what it said. But that was before. Who knows how long before. But now you have a past me with a present you. Don't worry, I'm merely a specter now. Words from a phantom. I wonder what I'm doing right now. The present me. If I'm still around even. Don't you wish you could tap in through this semi-connection we are having and be able to see what I'm seeing at this very moment? How cool would that ability? How cool would that ability be to have, don't you think? Oh well. On we go. Let's introduce a voice, a character, another piece of the story, another fragment to unfold. Forget we, no, you, wherever here, and let's continue. 1, 2, 3. Hi. A whispered voice comes from the jet black surrounding you. You feel uncomfortable, like something slipped. It could have just been the startle. Thinking, as you stand, reflexes at the ready, looking every which way. Only that one light in the distance glows and hums, waiting and daring not to move a muscle, other than your head darting around with the upper torso following fluidly, like a dancing cobra emerging from a clay pot. Defensively trying to cover all angles of potential attack. The lights start across and against the direction of your vision, and revel as if it is a firefly mixed with the straightened speed of a shooting star. It disappears as you look behind you, leaving streaked patterns to your vision, peering into a black wall at face-to-face distance. Don't worry, I'm not here to harm. I have no intention of that, nor do I trust you, the voice whispers. The voice sounds male, but weak and polite. I noticed you, and by the looks of things, you're new here. Aren't to pin down or locate at all, you stand at the ready. For some reason, you find yourself looking downwards and a few feet ahead at waist height, as if this voice is coming from someone at a child's tallness. What do you want then? You whisper back, having no reason to be whispering, but you do anyway. If I can just focus, just notice some movement, a silhouette, I could size this thing up. If it's small, like I'm thinking, I'm gonna grab this fucker. Thinking, while peering as hard as possible, studying every patch of black your eyes locks onto. The corner of your vision can still see the twinkle of light in the distance. I won't be staying long. Have to keep moving around here. Remember that, wanderer. See, I noticed you were new, and you seem decent. It's a risk, but folks need help too. So that's a risk I'm willing to take. If I feel safe, that is. Okay. Where the actual fuck is this place? The voice feels less threatening after listening, and you forget about trying to attack it. Still guarded though, you wait for a response and quickly dart a look over to the light. There are some places out of here. In the other places, even familiar places, a room in your home, even your own bedroom, wherever you're nested, with intimate and recognizable objects that you have decorated, some with meaning, some for appeal, but nevertheless, a safe environment, protective, sheltering you from the rest of the world, separating, or God forbid, even your own prison if the circumstances fall in that direction, but solitary and confined, behind those closed doors. Yeah, I wish for the life of me I could remember that for myself. Lights on. There are still small areas within that very room that are pretty much all the time absent of light. Nooks, crannies, corners, underneaths, and behinds. They hold dusty realms of forgotten things and undefinables. Lights off, as the familiar object ever slightly reform and twist just enough that they have seemed to become less known to you. A coat rack becomes a gaunt figure. A stretched shadow seems to be reaching forward. A picture on the wall holds faces of loved ones, but they seem somehow disfigured or conjoined. A pile of clothes become a small man sitting on a chair. This is when those small, ever-dark areas reach and reach out. Boundaries begin to fade, spreading outwardly, covering, invading what once was familiar. That ever-dark, in its blackest center is where Seul sits. Stare long enough with patience and curiosity, as sleep begins to overpower you. You will see what I say is true, as its door hinges, loosen, and the locks undo. Seul opens up. So, I'm in. The voice cuts you off. I have helped with what I know. There's nothing more. You understand a little farther now. I've played my part. We may bump into each other again. Plus, I think you have a light you are planning on heading to. Sometimes, you need to unfold the options, all options, to find more answers. Best of luck to you. Wait. Nothing as you stand there. Somehow feeling the presence of the voice has already moved on, just as quickly as it came. Despondent, with no way to give chase, you turn your attention to the pulsing light and begin to meander towards it, onwards. Oh, what in the hell? Who's this guy? As you move closer, you realize the light wasn't pulsing at all, but swinging back and forth. Slowly coming to a standstill, it now just sits above a man with no arms, sitting on an old cane and wood chair. He is staring right into your direction, but it seems as though there's been no notice of you yet. You're still in the darkness, just on the boundary of view. "I know you're out there," he yells. Should we just go around him? I mean, he looks harmless. You step into the light. It feels surprisingly warm. For some reason, you smell menthol and mint. The man is breathing steadily. He still hasn't made eye contact with you yet. His head is slightly tilted, as if he's listening intently. You shuffle one of your feet to make a sound. He turns his head... Wait, is he blind? He turns his head towards you. You realize... Yes, I'm blind, he states, beating you to the thought as he... He knew the shuffle of a foot was a test by the stranger before him. And armless, in case you didn't notice. A foxy smirk slips across his face as his head jets upwards. He has a gentlemanly voice, young but stern. He seems in good mood and you feel relaxed around him, for some unknown reason. There are no walls around you, but the paneling of darkness has this way of making you feel as though when stepping into the light, it's like stepping into another room with divisions, an inside, an outside, the works. All the rules of physics a room comes with. Odd. You think to yourself, as you quickly glance to the surroundings. There's the cane chair he's sitting on, and the floor is a polished, dark red wood, with heavy grains across it. The deep yellow light bouncing off of the floor gives the atmosphere of a thick wine red look to it. It tans the man. He seems calm and cool, almost like a skin-toned brushstroke at the center of a canvas completely monotoned with this warm red. His pants and the chair almost the same shade as the floor. He almost looks like a torso with a head floating in space. His pants are dark khaki and he's wearing blackish red boots. He's tall and gaunt. If he stood up, he would lurch over me, probably. Walking the darkness, I see. What brings you over to me? I see. What an odd thing to say. What? The darkness, yes. Where is this place? How do I get out? Well, it's not dark in here, is it? For me, it's dark everywhere, but at different depths of gloom. It's the nothingness with a lot of somethings, someones and somewheres. I didn't invite you. You must be a drifter or lost, or both. You better keep lost, drifter, for everyone's sake. Never stop, never become still. Being still isn't your part to play in here. It's not the way things work. But then again, rules are meant to be played by, till you question their existence. All I can say is don't leave your world here. There's no need to crash and burn. What? What does that even mean? Yes, it's the reality of things, I suppose. Reality of things? What reality is this? Whoa. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, my mouth is getting dry from all this reading, and I'm kind of slipping into a monotone. He pauses for a long while. He then smiles, but not with his foxy wry smile. It holds a more understanding expression. An expression knowing that answers are needed. Perhaps reality is a better way to phrase things. Sometimes one reality fades and another reality may blend through, filling the first reality's pores. But other times they don't. Other times they exist with each other, held together by the need to just exist, rubbing shoulders, hugging one another, or at the worst of circumstances battling one another, where only one can ever be triumphant. It is at these times a fight for survival turns ugly, where one must eat the other who succumbs. I've seen this ugliness. I've been this ugliness. This ugliness is not just a state of mind. It is a necessity here, a mechanic of the workings, a rule of survival. Love-hate relationships, but relationships nonetheless, all destined to set each other on fire at some point, lusting for each other like colliding galaxies. Then another may be born, making it 3, from Seul to Le Crumbs, then over there. Sometimes, though, it's just a vacant lot, awaiting construction to begin. So is this what this place is? The darkness? A joke said in the room of unhappy individuals, left to linger and dry in the center of the room, then to go on its own way, where it pleases, because it realizes with its own existence that it is not welcome there. Some sell themselves to the highest bidder. Some, well, they just fade away, move on, burn themselves out. Perhaps they are the smartest ones. You notice a stature change, and an air of seriousness fills the room. Even the light in the room seems to slightly warm and darken, adding a dense gloom as he leans back against his chair. Long and tall, chest and ribs exposed, lay bare. Human existence is lonely. He sighs and blindly stares at you. It's tasteless and dull, full of negativity. Subordinates sitting below that big fiery ball. Who gets to decide things? Anything. All things. And when decisions are made, who gets to enforce it? Should it entail surrendering all freedom? Is that the answer? Place ourselves in the decider's hands, the reader's, or in the baker's hands, and hope the decider or the baker knows what's best for us. Why trust either of them? It's blind faith in a whole truth. He shifts slightly, and you feel yourself do the same, like someone yawning across the room, and you in turn suddenly need to stretch your mouth. Maybe, thanks to duality, one did not actually come before the other, and one is therefore not stronger than the other. So maybe, just maybe, the decided possibly even existed before the decision was even grappled with to begin with. If duality is the case, then they're all going to end up polarized in one extreme or the other. The cynics will lean towards the negative, the optimists leading towards the positive. Really, neither of them is more correct than the other. In fact, they're both equally incorrect. All they're really doing is playing favoritism games. If one recognizes the whole for what it is, then it is plain to see that getting caught up with either pole position is really not the place to be. He leans in, and although you know he's blind and feel an odd sensation that he's staring right at you, not just at you, but into you, you suddenly feel less comfortable, violated in some slight way. Naked, almost. So, what if non-duality then? Well, it's foreign and not welcome as a concept to either of the extremists. Why? Because letting go of these attachments would mean a loss of identities. Yes, they're precious fucking conceited identities. So, why even stop and ponder then? Why contemplate issues that never were bothered to you? Why build castles in the air? Because this needs to be addressed in order to understand the order here, the purpose, the answer, the darkness you find yourself in, and all that it holds in here. This place we name Seul. All the baker has built, and the outside where the crumbs dwell in Le Crumbs. From those fucking Lumina to Wrigley. The origin place or over there. So many characters at play. So many answers to find. But I tell you this, Drifter. Here, Seul, where this darkness sits, it really is the connector, the key to all of them, the glue. Would you like to hear what that answer is? Yes. It's a long answer. The answer is nothing anyway. Fucking nothing. There's nothing existing in the first place. Do you see it yet? How negative, how pessimistic you may think. Well, that couldn't be farther from the truth. See, pessimism and optimism, as we just elaborated before, attach labels of value. Whereas this nothing sees that there are no values attached, until one chooses to assign the label. It's detached, truly detached, and within the art of detachment, there's no moral code, but more a rule of thumb. Not to engage in any word or deed that would either enable attachment or hinder detachment, both in oneself and in others. Not because it's good, bad, right, wrongful, moral, or immoral, but because it is contrary to the essence of nothing in the first place. His fox smile emerges faintly on the edges of his lips. This darkness that engulfs us refrains from assigning distinctions because it enables attachment, but the attachment comes from you and by your choice, your own choice. It does not hold anything within itself. In here, regarding the darkness, you cannot assign a value to no value. But when you do, that in itself becomes a value. However, a value we have chosen to assign from our own point of view. Yet is no embodiment in the darkness itself. The darkness holds on to nothing. He relaxes back in his chair again, and his gaze moves off into the black backdrop, filling his lungs with a deep breath. Of course, there are ones who warp this darkness. Darkness's nature into a perversion for their own benefits. They give the false value that no value allows them to do whatever they wish, whatever they desire at all. But that is one big fucking contrary to what this all is. And if you wander around here long enough, you'll find them. The ones who employ the darkness and misuse it for their own purposes. I hope you never come across them. You can't help but feel as though you notice a sense of duplicity in that last sentence. This place is not attached to anything. It is not good. It is not bad. It is not right. It is not wrong. It is not correct, and it is not incorrect. There is no position to take in here, for there is no position. It is not a value to uphold, for there is no value. It is not a reason to have, for there is no reason. It is not a meaning to place, for there is no meaning. It is not a purpose to find, for there is no purpose. He pauses and a smile fills out his cheeks. The fox smile has become something devilish. And it is not a narrative to follow and unravel through choices of pathways, for there is no narrative. The softer fox smile returns and the fiendish look dissipates. It is not some non-existence, because non-existence is a concept of some state that only holds significance with conjuncture to existence, meaning that non-existence is just another aspect that exists. No. This nothing, this darkness, what it is, can never be found so long as you're seeking and believing there's something to find. Oh, why is a lie in caps? There's nothing. Nothing to be found. Nothing and no thing. But it is not a suffering zone. Bliss, perfection, utopia, mist, smoke, fog, void, or even empty space. It is nothing you can point to or allude to. It is not any sort of quality or state of being. All that is something. And there are no somethings here that are actually part of the darkness's form. They are merely indwellers. Something's filling a sort of space. It has no labels because it is beyond labels. This shit doesn't feel like nothing to me. It feels like something. I'm something. I am. Surely I am. Then this is... Or is it not? Is it really just nothing? How absurd. A way station of nothing. You think to yourself as your head hurts and you're filled with a feeling that there's something not quite real about any of this. You and all of anything that is something here is just a visitor, a tourist, a tenant. You should really try to understand what it is you think you're getting yourself into. And to understand this is to reach an understanding that there really isn't anything to understand. But looking at you, I think you're still not ready for it. Because you play this game with choices and pathways that have attachments that you could never get rid of. Your ideas, beliefs, concepts, and convictions made you choose your very path to here. Your values, purpose, meanings, outside narrative, your distinctions of good, bad, wrong, right, evil, good, correct, and incorrect make you play a game that isn't worth playing. But you still cannot tell because you have played it as everyone else. And you have played it soul. With all of us in here, and no individual necessarily has a place in it. His body relaxes, and his head leans back and over the chair. His neck stretches as his Adam's apple punches out from his throat. It moves up and down like a ping-pong ball pushed by air, as he whispers something over and over again. You cannot hear it, but his voice sounds like a west serpent moving through reeds in shallow gray water. Well, maybe if he's telling something to me. You move closer, but it's still a whisper. Almost as if he has intentionally lowered his volume. Maybe this is a trap, I don't know. I've heard enough, let's leave him be. Retreating to the bowels of the dark, you feel it cover you, submerge you into a black smudge. At this moment, you truly do feel unconnected to everything except the black. A severed roamer, a vagabond, a drifter, an explorer, a floating and displaced self of what I am somewhere else. Wandering the darkness seems to go on for a while. The black canvas begins to play tricks on your perception and even lacerate through thoughts at almost randomized moments. Sounds buzz by, but yet don't actually seem to be there. There seems to be something comforting in the negative space, though. Something deeply safe. Like a child hiding under a blanket from a monster. You notice you're just walking now, and any caution of walking into something has vanished along with the fear of what else could be out there in the dark, and wait. One foot in front of the other, stepping forward, onward in what seems to be a straight line. You've even stopped scanning your surroundings at this point, as any glimmer of light would stand out like the sun after an eclipse. Photophobia, a symptom of abnormal intolerance to visual perception of light. Huh? Your eyes suddenly burst into pain. Like looking into the sun, they begin to force themselves closed. The sound of buzzing of artificial lights turning on all at the exact same moment echoes through you. Who's this guy? I was alone, is all you can think of as your eyes begin to cease burning and start to adjust, opening themselves. Adjusting quicker than you expected, everything in front of you is illuminated. A man's voice. The man sitting in front of you. Illumina Bureau. We've heard that before, right? A mouth left open, gaping. Looks just like a trash can. Suddenly, it's dark again. What? Oh. In the pitch black, you can still see the negative silhouette of the room, and the strange man sitting in the middle of the room. The brightest lit parts left as green, orange to white imprints of what was there. All precaution and alertness have spiked through your being. You move forward with arms waving, eyes wide open, surveying for any glimpse or flicker of light. Breath held, ears pricked to any sound, heart pounding and racing, legs feeling shaky but agile. Is this one of the people the armless man was warning me about? They can manipulate the darkness, right? You move on, but in an entirely different fashion this time, ready for what may come. Damn it. Damn this place and its non-rational shit. You think as you move forward, like an exposed lamb who wandered too far from the flock. Yeah, and surrounded by wolves. In the fucking dead of night. Everything and everyone here are so unknown, so obscure it's a constant threat. Everything is a threat in here. Everything. You feel your chest tighten along with your fist. Your jaw clenches and the panic is quickly turned into anger and frustration, then to a determination. Your strides forward become more controlled, pushing out all the fear as it becomes replaced with resolve. This fuel won't last forever, but it feels good for a while as you move on. Lights. The fuel long gone and completely diffused, just as desperation was beginning to invade. A light shines in the distance. Once again, you feel like a moth to a flame, and your body takes you towards it. The electricity on the farm? It's like a little circus tent. You stop just before a group of interconnected tents. You take a step closer, you look down, and the light spreads over and through the tips of dark green grass. It's so dense that the light seems to only blanket its surface, like light trying to penetrate itself into the depths of a green lagoon. You squat down and run your hand over it. Warm. Its touch is soft and damp. Part of you just wants to lay down on it and rest. Squatting feels good too. Bending the knees and hips makes you realize how long you've been walking for. You look back up at the tents and read the sign overhanging the entrance. Electricity of the farm? Lumina Bureau. Electricity. Surely it's connected. Fuck. You ponder as you take a deep breath and begin to stand. Your knees creak and feel rusty as you return yourself to the upright position you spent so much time in. I guess head inside. You move cautiously across the silent, spongy grass. Your stomach begins to knot and a tumor of fear bulges its way up your throat like a cancer that will begin to spread if you don't swallow it back down. You swallow as you guardedly grab onto the tent's entrance tarp. An empty ticket booth sits across from you. The light is on, but there is definitely nobody in there. Ah well, at least I don't have to pay for this shit. To your left, that's really what you're worried about? To your left, a display room lights up and startles you at first. A speaker blares out a recorded voice of a honeyed young lady. Welcome to the electricity of the farm, brought to you by Lumina Bureau, illuminating the aphotic. Suddenly, another booth lights up to the right. An upbeat melody plays from the piano, but there is no movement. The girls seem like very realistic wax sculptures. Both booths are encased in a glass wall, so there's no chance to get close enough to study them. It's like a museum display. Alright, survey the surrounding room. The tent is circular and it feels oddly solid considering its fabric. It may just be because there's no wind moving it. It feels damp and sad for some reason. Thick where it absorbs the artificial light, vividly glowing from the booths, pushing itself against the tarp, and then dissipating to black at its peak points above you. A booth filled with lights and mirrors stands a few feet away from you and across the tent, just a few more feet from the back right. A small hallway with a light and a door. Nothing else. A sunless world. You mutter under your breath as you inspect both options. Alright, this looks like a fucking torture device, and this looks like another way. I don't know. Should we try out the booth? Let's go for it. You step into the booth, and the door closes behind you automatically. You turn and push against it. Trapped. Fuck, you think. Then suddenly the lights turn off. Standing in darkness, the booth seems to be mechanical as it begins to hum. The lights around the base, no more than 2 rows high just below your knees, become dimly lit. You can see your own reflection. A ghostly reflection that doesn't really feel like you, or at the very least a poor copy of you. Then, Photos. Photos of the past and near present beg and ache to be looked at. What the fuck? Oh, geez, that's real unsettling. Oh, okay. They're just having a good time. We're all having fun here. A male voice orates to the speakers, but it is so clear that it feels within you. Almost as though it has breached and penetrated your inner monologue, taking up residence beside your own conscious. The voice is modulated but pleasantly calming, well spaced and paced out perfectly. Its respectability grabs your undivided attention. Only the blind may stare directly into the sun. Who are you? What is the all of who you are? Who are we? Where is the truth? Delusion and confusion are so seductive in their nature. What? Who are these people? The booth hums quietly and you hear a slight slide and click as the new image transitions into view. Reality? Truth? What? I guess that's just a medical photo. Do we dwell within a universe? I can't tell what this is. What? Darwinian thought would place you as merely a creature, a product of an outcome of millions of years of evolution, a byproduct of happenings, nothing more than circumstance and coincidence, a coincidence that obeys no laws, well, no laws that we are aware of, for the least. The guy holding a cross. Huh. Or is there more to it? Is there a preordained cosmic meaning to it all? A godly baker's hand that placed you in the darkness to begin with, that gave you the push and tumbled you in here. Intentionally and with some purpose and function to play out a part in the great scheme of things within here. You feel a slight mood of discomfort slowly drift over you. This fucking baker, you think to yourself. Or is it all just a simulation? A game to be played. A choose your own adventure. Does anything around you even exist? Yes, you can see it. You may touch it and hold it. Pick it up even. But how do you know you're not just sitting behind a screen somewhere, playing a game, as if there is a reality somewhere else, outside of here, and perhaps there's another screen behind that one, and also, and so on. What? Waxy flexibility? Forever being deceived. But enough with abstractions. Let's move on, shall we? What is actually here versus a narrative of the mind? I mean, you think, therefore you must exist? Sorry to diverge off track, but let's make sure the reader is still with us after all. Reader, press the button or leave now. We wouldn't want you being somewhere you wish not to be. Reader, what the fuck is this shit? You think as you attempt to turn around and look at the rear view, but there seems not to be enough room to turn completely. The light in the booth from the screen and small bulb seem to not allow you to see much else. However, from what you can see, there seem to be no buttons anywhere, and even feeling around produces no such button. Great, I'm stuck. Press this button to continue, or this will allow you to leave. Do we want to leave? Oh. I mean, we might as well listen to this guy. What the fuck? Ah, wonderful. Let's move on, shall we? Oh, well, it's still working, you think, puzzled as the voice goes on. Of course, we are the reader. And the only button is here on our screen. But what is it that you actually think you have that makes you what you are? Are you a person? Or is that merely an idea? You really only ever have our perceptions of what we are experiencing. So you're just perceiving the experience of being a person? I'd love to have context for these photos, honestly. There are 5 senses, if one is lucky enough to have all 5. What the fuck? Taste. Touch. Smell. Hearing. Sight. These are the confirmed mechanics that contextualize experience. It should be noted that becoming impaired in one or more of these senses does not hinder one to still be able to form a working frame of reference in order to perceive an experience. Just one of the senses will become the dominant one as the situation requires. Again, I digress. Let's move on, shall we? Sure. Still with us. Terrific. A sense is not just an end result. In fact, it is a field of information that is then translated into a sense via a sense organ. So taste, touch, smell, sound, and sight do not exist merely on their own. Without the sense organ, they are just vibrations of energy, sense data. So move backwards in the process, and sense data is just different densities of energetic information. God. What is going on in these photos? So, where you are currently, which is behind your screen, the dominant sense at play is the sight. The approximate field of view for an average human eye, measured from the fixed point of where you are focusing at this very moment, is typically 30 degrees superior up, limited by the brow, 45 degrees nasal, limited by the nose, 70 degrees inferior down, 100 degrees temporal towards the temples. But I divagate. Let's move on, shall we? So look at your screen. Not what is in it, but your screen as an object. Notice how it has borders? It is not all-encompassing. This is just like your vision. But now for all intents and purposes, existentially this is all you have. Let us use this box as a metaphor for the extent of the mechanics of your perception of experience and existence. Anything else you have concluded in the past, outside and beyond your current focused perception's border, i.e. this screen, is an abstraction. What? Are you a human being? Have you ever really had an outside reference point of disembodiment to confirm you are? And even so, wasn't this outside model just another image on a screen, depicting a person you have identified as your own self? A mirror? What of our bodies then? Look at your hand. Go on. Okay. Well, there you are. A strong indication of what ourselves are. Confirmation that you are indeed a human. You can see your hand. Therefore, you are a human being looking upon your hand. Simple, right? Only that isn't the truth of what is being indicated here. The identity of a human being is assumed. It is an abstraction yet again. A story that is told within the mind that is transfixed with the confines of a screen. It seems to me that you may have forgotten the borders and that which falls outside these boundaries. It's fine. Don't let it bother you so much, as it is very common to get yourself all caught up in these appearances that appear on the screen, and you find your true self lost in them. It's a bit like this darkness, really, come to think of it. But alas, that is why we have found ourselves here. Now, let us take a closer look at the hand on the screen. The truth is, it is exactly what it appears to be. The visualization of a hand on a screen. Since when did this become an assumption that you are human? Imagine for the moment that you are playing a choose-your-own-adventure game, and within the booth is the digital character. Even though you have been choosing and controlling pathways of the character, did you ever actually believe you were that character? What in the hell? What is this guy talking about? Me? A digitized character? A figment of imagination? A wooded boy? Nothing more than fiction? What? It's very difficult to determine what the outside of a box looks like when you live inside it. When you watch a film, are you the main character? You may imagine that you are, or establish some kind of relatable identification with these make-believe characters, but the truth is these characters and the worlds they inhabit are attributed or inferred to be something they are not. Dismantled and boiled down, they are nothing more than patterns on a screen. Well, how about a mirror then? We look into a mirror and see ourselves, don't we? Allow us to look at an example of this. Is this similar to what you are referring to? Actually, all you see is a character on a screen, looking at a reflection in a mirror. Even when you peer into a mirror, it is still just the reflection of a character in a mirror on the screen of visualization. Do you see where we're going with this? Go on. All you have is a portrayed experience of an existence that can be witnessed to imply something about the nature of what is witnessing this experience, which is you. But referencing the content of the experience is really addressing the wrong area of concern. This is similar to saying that you can understand in film projection by following the plot of a movie. This is the wrong area of concern because when one looks deeper into the details of illusion, what one finds necessarily draws the attention further away from the origin. This is how a delusion works, and you can only look so far into an illusion before it will become necessary to rely on a prosthetic technology. Looking into the microcosm or the microcosm, you will quickly come in need of a microscope or telescope. The thing is, neither one is a peek into the truth. I feel like I'm in a philosophy class. At best, all you will have is a model of an abstraction based on a perception. The details of an illusion only ever reinforce the idea that there are deeper levels beyond our capacity to explore. Layers of appearances that go on forever. All there really is are layers of appearances that go on forever. When I use the word appearances, I mean that illusions only give off the impression of deeper significance. But in it all, it is only an appearance on a screen. If you take notice of the face value of an illusion within a quick glance, you'll soon be able to identify the facade of appearances it produces. You manage to become aware of recognizing it. Take this, for example. Our angels. Our sweet little angels from a time long lost. They never truly knew where they were going, for the sun was always behind them. But that is another time, and another story, and the sun is no bother to us anymore. So our girls stand within a field, a place, but it isn't a place, nor is it even a contrived portrayal of a place. To you, it is nothing more than a mere experiential visualization in a framework. And even this framework doesn't depict the setting it appears to show. And there are no wings, no girls, there's no grass, no field that they stand in. There isn't any height, width, depth, or distance. What you have here is just an arrangement of pixels. Yet at times I do feel as though the illusion of hope The dream within my loneliness twists and flattens like I am a being searching for a soul, but I am a soul searching for a being. Goodbyes without fingerprints. I really am losing my mind in here. Oddly, it somehow feels like home. Understanding this, it can be known that the world is actually flat. Not because the world is indeed flat. Not because the Earth globe is flat. No, the Earth globe is a round and concept. What? The Earth globe is flat because the Earth is an item on the visualization screen. And everything on the visualization screen is flat. Things on the screen only appear to be 3 dimensions due to the eye because of the pixel configuration. It is no different to watching a 3D film. It seems to be 3-dimensional, but is it 3-dimensional? So comprehending these holographic illusions in reality can now be better understood, as their seemingly 3-dimensional embodiments are not that different to the mechanics of a 3D movie. It is a fair point, you think, as you listen on. So I do hope this clears up some of the confusion. Try to keep this in mind when dealing with anything in perception. You have loved ones? No, you don't have loved ones. You have a perception of an experience of loved ones. You have a dwelling, a home to rest your head. No, you don't have a home to rest your head. You have a perception of an experienced home to rest your head. A self? You don't even have a self. You have a perception of an experience of a self. And the same goes for anything in or out of this world. There is no world. There is only perception of an experience of a world. And now we come to the end of the presentation. A footnote you still seek? Just wait then. Or leave. But that is the second to last option. A footnote. The machine's hum slows, and the lights slowly dim out, leaving you standing in the pitch black. For a few moments, which seem to drag out, there's nothing. The viewing screen where the slides were presented lights up, and you realize it's a room where they're on the other side, slightly bigger than your booth. The figure taps on the glass at you. Fear rushes and floods through you. You lean back against the exit panel, but it does not budge. The figure relaxes and sits just looking at you. It breathes slowly and deeply. It is hard to look at, and it seems so sad, rife with agony. Your bewilderment keeps you frozen. What if memories, then? The voice is back, and at first it flinches you, but you're still ossified, unable to take your eyes off of the thing on the other side. Blink and breathe. Swallow some of the terror. Long grass like a forest, stepping on ants, clouds passing by, producing all sorts of imaginings. A cold drink, freshly laid beds, cold and clean with the smells of detergents, the scent of rain, frosty mornings as dew slowly transforms to droplets, seeping into the cold earth, steamed exhale with a numb nose, the leftover quietness from the night being broken and forgotten by an early bird's song kissing the new day. You come to the idea of a new day. Oh, yes, a kiss, a hug, your first day, streetlights, the crunch of gravel underfoot, the song you know all the words to, and the reason behind the song, the first time you were touched romantically, erotically, heartbreak, your favorite meal, the time a book changed your life, the time another changed your entire life, the time you felt utterly alone. Like in here, utterly alone, but now I'm not so sure that it is. I that feels alone, or the I that can feel the loneliness of this whole place. Shit. He stands and moves with such speed towards the far wall of his room. It is not a big room at all, but the move startled you. You now realize that that thing maneuvers inhumanly quick. You feel a shiver course through you as you think of the possibility of having to face that thing with no divider. If that gets loose, I'm fucked. Memories of what? Of them then? Photos. Photo albums. Pictures of the past. Archived memories. Captured moments. Then there are relatives. Lives we never knew but tell part of our synopsis. Stories drifted down to us on moth-chewed, washed-out cloth. Spoken words of skeletons and broken locked closets, hinges pulled off or left ajar, where murky smidges truths have only now been hung out to dry, where time has played the movement of the wind. There are corpses dragged out, propped up on display to be studied, observed and judged weightlessly but never truly understood. Why keep the weight, the burden, preserving, measuring, labeling and shelving, then unpacking, sharing and passing on? Why? Because we're condemned to forgetting. Without proper storage and foundation, the sands and elements of time cover over and devour. Yeah, well, everything is forgotten eventually, even the great things. But isn't that what is wonderful about life? It allows you to have vindication over the obscure despairs we all suffer from. Your thought brings a slight solace to you. But there's still dejection watching that thing through the screen, standing, breathing, existing in such a surreal state like a semi-existence. It should be put out of its fucking misery, you think as you fill with fury. These fucks speak of things that matter, yet humanly keep this tortured thing in there. What a fucking lie. These fucking pieces of shit. Sickness begins to creep into your gut. Hey, you yell. It does not turn, and the voice continues uninterrupted. The Lumina Bureau is the grip knotted to the anchor. Anthologists of all written through the back. We keep the accounts, catalog the narratives of the ornamented, capture the scenes with pickle and brine. A simple gesture, flattering the poor and misplaced. In the end, we are only communities that have to coexist. We may not know each other very well, but this is a start. The start. We note down the beauty of it all. No. No. You fucks are a museum and a zoo. Nothing more. You're collectors and hoarders with no sympathy. You are heartless. You have no open hands and... you have open cages disguised as charity. I'm yelling at a fucking recording in a booth with some monster of what might have been someone just like me at some point in time on the opposite side. I can't deal with this shit. You think to yourself as you begin to laugh like a madman. I'm losing it. But does it even matter? Is there any way out of here? Any victory for me to accomplish? Any meaning? Gain is loss and loss is gain. So what's the fucking point? Survival. Yeah, why have bright ideas? Searching for purposes and words, definitive sides to take a stance on? Hopefully, if I am turning mad, I wish to be a happy madman. Continually swishing around in the shallow pools of good moods, laughing for no apparent reason from dusk till dawn. Oh, from dusk till dusk. What nocturnal creature have I become in here? Has the balance of what I was to what I am shifted? Rub your face. The voice continues as you attempt to regain some composure. In this place of somewhere, each and every one of us is forced to walk alone, searching for an elsewhere, an unknown elsewhere. But why search at all? We're the resistance to this somewhere, a station of belonging to something, offering sustenance through a walk of solitude in the dark. We bring the light. Call it what you want, you fucks. I see the nature of you. You think as the booth lights up completely, and the thing's room disappears from the screen before you as the lights in there switch off. You hear the door latch behind you. Open it. You open the door and fresh air hits you. Quickly you survey the room and check behind the booth. Nothing. The room was never there. Maybe it was a projection. It is still all the same within the tent. Alright, let's head for the hallway. You walk down the hallway. Nothing is out of place. A photo sits in a basic frame on the wall, opposite to the door. You study it for some time. Then you grip the door handle and stare back at the image again and study it one more time. A deep breath fills your lungs. It feels good and you turn to face the door once more, leaving the picture behind. Here we fucking go again. Turn the handle. The darkness invades again, ever present. But in the not too far distance you see the light. Another path. You decide to head for it. The walk is quick, but somehow you feel within yourself that you have traveled a considerable distance from where you once were. As you approach, you hear sobbing, moving closer. I want to get out of here. I want to get out of here. You hear a female voice weakly say through the bouts of sobbing. You have walked to a solid wall. To your right is where the light and sobbing is originating from. Everywhere else there's a darkness, so there's only one way to go. You turn the corner and there sits a lady of middle age, very still, and she seems to be looking at something across the room. Hidden in the dark just to your left, you look over. There seems to be nothing there. Your focus switches back to the lady who may just be in some sort of trance. Suddenly, you hear the sobbing coming from just behind her. A door. The sobbing is coming from just behind her. Let's step forward. You step forward now, exposing your presence from the dark. Hello? You present yourself as not to shock her. She offers no response at all. You take another step looking at her. She still does not even flinch. You look at the door. The sobbing continues. Hello? Hey lady, excuse me? Excuse me, what is going on in there? This time you were sure to speak louder. Still nothing. You shouldn't go in there. She is broken. You're too late, you know. A girl's voice pronounces from the dark to the left of you. Oh, little girl. What the fuck is the first thought? Purple shades over pink shades, over yellow, over green, over black. Peggy is bruised beyond repair. That's Peggy from the beginning? The girl the guy was yelling at? The deformed girl speaks and then has nothing more to say. She turns away from you slowly within a ghostly plane of existence and reality. You look over to the lady sitting on the chair. Grief seems to have molested her face. She still offers no sign that you are there. Let's go inside. You move towards the door, walking past the sitting lady. As you brush past her, she whispers, "Forgive us for what we have done." You pause just past her. It isn't grief. It is regret that has taken her and contorted her. You think as a sense of urgency and worry embodies you. Open it. You open the door. Suddenly you feel out of place in time and space. What is that? A girl stands with her back towards you. Inside a black room, sobbing her disfigurement jolts you out of comprehension for a brief moment. Mercy burns up in your heart. Oh, what have they done to you? You mutter as your eyes fill with tears, inspecting her wounds. It's a sickening mix of open wounds, some surgical, some not, and what seems to be skin grafts and treatments only to be opened up again almost over and over. You try to turn her to face you, but you cannot. It puzzles you as you attempt to walk around her to see her face. No matter what you try, you are always left facing only the back of her head. You try all possible ways to get around her, every attempt in vain. I feel like a ghost. I want to get out of here. Please, someone, anyone, help me. There's no happy ending. Most of who I was has died, but I'm still here. Hello? Can I help you? Are you okay? You realize how stupid the last part of that question was. However, she does not stir, still oblivious to you or intentionally ignoring you. I'm sorry. I am not what you wanted. Some of us are just born with tragedy in our blood. Hey, excuse me, do you need help? Again with the dumb questions, but this time you make sure to raise your voice. Still nothing. Am I just a mistake? This whole place is a fucking mistake, but you aren't. Nobody's a mistake. It's not the darkness that grabs me. It's the silence in here that grabs me around my throat. I cannot hide from my screaming thoughts. My head is so messed up I feel it messing up. It's like trying to bite my own teeth. You turn to look behind you and around the room. Nothing but the mist of darkness, always at your shoulders. Flutters of concerns make their way through your stomach. The black seems darker than ever before. This darkness is terrible. Look at me, please. She continues, deaf to your plea. I used to think that death was like being blind and dumb, but still conscious. I realize that now that idea was silly and naive. No, this is something entirely different. Something far worse. Being dead would be a relief compared to this. What is your name? How did you end up here? It's so strange, so odd how tortured it all is. Unable to turn, unable to face anything. But I have. Inside myself I swear it. Her voice, heightened by her statement through the hurt and tears, returns back to the somber despair. Always changing. I'm not even the same me I was 5 minutes ago. How is it possible to change so much but not be able to change anything at all? But I stay trapped in the same damn position. The same situation, left contemplating and feeling those fucking feelings. Her voice quivers to a breaking point. I just want to get out of here. I still find myself guarding my defensive. I can't help but keep building walls around nothing. I want to get out of here also. Suddenly, you become truly aware of the absurdity of all this. Through it, you still just want to help her. To not let her go through all this. Something inside you wants to support her, more than helping yourself. An absurd fucking hero. A labyrinth protecting myself so well that I can no longer find myself at the center of it. I've grown a forest that is ever expanding and constantly thickening, pushing all inner light that I've left outwards. It's darker where my self sits than this whole place. I didn't even leave any crumbs to find my way back. The original pathway in and out has been obliterated with so many turns, so many backtracks, circles, shortcuts, scenic routes, overs, unders, insides and inside outs. All I want to do is get out of here. So do I. But I need you to listen to me. I ran out on my own cause, and this is the aftermath. Pushed out by not being wanted, even by myself. Well, at least I thought that, but I realize now that isn't the case. I want me back, but it's all so overbearing. I can't get out. I'm too weak to find me and take myself by the hand. How long do I have to be tortured for my wrongs? I've weaved a tangled web as a spider, but now I am the fly. Stuck, trapped, encased, slowly consuming my own life force. Not destroying myself is a lot of work. Apathy envelops me with a warm blanket of nothingness. Termites have masticated my core. The pain is so severe that even throughout the prison of rational thought, the agony vanquishes all else. It is time for calm, because I am empty, not just around the edges, but even within. And now I weep, Seul, alone. She produces a razor blade. The metal glistens with no shine you have ever seen before. Your eyes bulge out from your skull. You can feel them. I'm out here, by myself, all alone. I wish they could see this world through my eyes. It all hurts so bad inside. I can't get out of here. I just want to live again. My life is nowhere, and I'm sick of hoping. I'm in here, by myself, all alone. I cannot take any more care. I wish they could see the world through my eyes. I just want to live again. I just want to live again. I just want to live again. No, don't do this. Don't be so optimistic. Finally, she turns almost as though she had heard something. Jesus fuck. Or she was merely searching for something or someone to eventually come. But you can't move, and you realize you have no influence over the next few moments as they unravel right before your eyes. Exhausted, the only thing you can do is stay. In some way, knowing that she was witness to and not truly soul, brings some idea of something of, if anything. So you sit beside her now. You notice calmness slowly pull over the floor as the creature empties her veins. Oh, opened by a razor. It goes on for some time, and she continues to cry as her life force spills forth, and her self-infliction dulls to stillness. How can emptiness be so fucking heavy? She had no face left, and I had no voice left to protest. Will anyone besides me remember her? Her shell and forgotten memories after she erased herself. Will she just fade away? Once I meet my own demise with no one to memorialize? All this fucking darkness with cryptic pathways. Could I have gotten here quicker? Was there a different path? Choices? Always choices, and now I cannot live down the deceit. Ah, fuck, why? You scream and cry, but no one is there. No one hears your call, it just echoes back at you. Nameless emotions fill you from the bottom of your soul to the top of your lungs as you continue to cry and scream. The noises which were escaping you cease after a while. You sit beside her for an incomprehensible amount of time, silent. The dark red blood begins to dry on its edges as thick, congealed crust forms over it. Sometimes you don't say goodbye only once. You say goodbye over and over and over and over forevermore. If only someone, if only I wasn't Seul. If only we weren't all left alone. If now, not only anymore, not if anymore, but now I've got to get a fucking grip of some sort, composure, think, Jesus fuck, think. How did I even get here? Where was I before here? What was I doing? Maybe if I can just remember, I can figure out where here is. What here is. Damn it, where was I? Home. I was home and the dog was barking outside. The television was on. One of those infomercials were playing. It was a mop. Yes, a steam mop. Woof. Woof. The hell's he barking at? The lamp beside the couch flickered with subtlety, but I subconsciously noticed it. Are we waking up? Because I remember that detail now as I rose off the couch, heading towards the kitchen, straight through the back door. The door was open and the screen door was unlocked. The light in the kitchen had this bright artificial sting to it as I walked through. Must have still been adjusting from sleep, but damn, it stung. Woof, woof. I opened the back screen door. I tried turning the light on by the switch. Nothing. It was dead. Fucking shit. I could see the dog in the middle of the yard, moonlight blanketing everything to a low bluish gray. Nothing out of place except the dog. It was facing towards me, towards the house, towards the back door, avoiding the house. He sat silently, just staring at me. It's strange to me. the fuck is wrong? With the quickness shock entangled its way through me, fear shot downwards from the tip of my brain to the ends of my fingers. In the kitchen, my peripheral vision saw something through the sting of artificial glare. It was something dark, standing in the corner near the sink. I felt it behind me now. I wasn't alone. Then darkness and voices. It's about to begin again. Shh, I know. Well, how far do you think? Not very. Now keep quiet, would you? We're about to begin. Oh, now I remember what it was. Enlightened, you realize your tears could turn this whole place into a swamp, but the realization of what you know now and what is left to figure out, you have a fire that will burn this entire shithole to ash. You stand, life intensifies and rises within. The darkness welcomes you once more as you take a step. A new step. Soul. I'm alive in here. I'm open wide in here. It is still all incomplete. I'm the absurd hero in here. I'll take my time and bring this whole fucking place to the ground. I'm Sisyphus in here. I know I'll never let it chain me, hold me, devour me. I welcome the darkness, not it. Me, and I will avenge Peggy. The final fold. We reach the final fold of the Entrée of Seul. The Entrée, written by depicted prophet Nick Stavro, and produced by Paranormal Games. This is a temporary ending. Thank you for partaking in this journey into the darkness. A special thank you for my wife and soulmate for her help, support, patience, and love. We is one. My two beautiful children who drive me crazier in all aspects each day of my life, and it's the best type of crazy. Also David O'Donoghue, the oracle who always helps find the answers we seek. My brother and the other half of Paranormal Games. Nothing is ever possible without you. Within the menu is an area titled From Us to You. If you have not already looked into it, please do. There is more information regarding our hopes and plans for Seul. You can check your store for the prequel to this, which is free. Oh, there's another game, The Day Before. If you've enjoyed the journey, please share and support us. I have a lot more to unfold for you within Seul. The mains, plus another connected title, idealism. Take care, my friends, be a good person, but never bother proving it. So I suppose that's the end of our little experience here. That was quite interesting. Of course, I was a little confused at first when our main character guy steps into the booth and that voice starts explaining sort of this universe inside of our own mind, and the fact that we are only our mind, and everything we perceive is just a projection inside our own mind. That just really took me back to, I don't know, just philosophical concepts I learned before. And yeah, I think that was an interesting take on it. It's a very creative way to kind of portray these concepts. I know quote-unquote games where you just sit down and read and make a couple choices might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it does make for a good bedtime story if you're just reading it. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Apparently there is a prequel, if you want to check that out. I will actually leave a link below to that, and also a link to this game as well, in case you want to stay updated on any new projects they're working on. But yeah, I hope to see more of this, and I may be playing this one the day before, just to see. Since this is the prequel, I want to know a little more about this story. Yeah, I thought that was some great writing, and I'm glad I took the time to read this. It was very surreal and a lot of reading, but I enjoyed every bit of it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this little experience, and I'll see you next time. Bye.